All right, Shalom. First thing first, I want to give all praises, glory, honor, and power that's due unto Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shah, Bahashim Rakakadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles at Great Millstone, those who rule well who I learned this truth from, and salutations to the brothers stiffly pushing this one truth in all sincerity and diligence, risking both your lives and freedoms to do so. And Shalom to the rest of the elect as we all await the second Exodus coming quickly by the hands of Lord Yahweh Shah. This is your brother Akagabar, all right, and I want to be doing this lesson, all right, going into the breakdown of Romans, the 11th chapter, all right, which goes into the grafting in, all right, of the olive tree. Okay, Romans, the 11th chapter, going into the grafting in, all right, of the olive tree, which was spoken of by the Apostle Paul, all right, and I'm going to do this lesson because you ultimately have it to where a large percentage of these Christians to this day believe that the grafting in relates to heathen, okay, non-bloodline Israelites being able to be a part of this hope, right? Being able to be a part of the hope of salvation and believing in Yahweh Shah HaMashiach, okay? But that's just completely off, man. You know, and this is the reason why scriptures speak about inheriting laws, right? Let's start there, you know, because essentially, you know, white Jesus, you know, Christianity, you know, and all those things are being created, you know, and to ultimately feed you people a law, man, you know. All right. But this is Jeremiah 16:19. It says, O Lord, Yahweh, my strength and my fortress and my refuge in the day of affliction. The Gentiles shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth and shall say, surely our fathers have inherited lies, vanity, and things wherein there is no profit, man. You know, and, you know, ultimately you heathens should be, you should have a bone to pick, you know, with the so-called white man, you know, coming out during the Renaissance, giving you white Jesus and giving you a false hope. You know, this is one of the lies you're going to realize you've inherited because you're going to see, as it tells you in Wisdom of Solomon 5, you know, you're going to see the strangeness of the salvation of the elect Israelites, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and natives, you know, and wherever else the Israelites, all right, are scattered at, okay, are going to get delivered, man. And you're going to see the strangeness of that salvation, all right, and you're going to say, this was he, you know, whom we counted his life for madness, you know, roughly paraphrasing. You know, you're going to be surprised that we were the ones actually numbered amongst the children of the Lord, man, you know, and that the salvation was for our people, you know, but ultimately that's the lesson I want to touch on is that the grafting in, okay, is going into who? Uncircumcised Israelites, all right, Israelite foreigners who grew up, all right, outside of the land, you know, without the law, you know, and they grew up keeping heathen customs, you know, all right, and that's what we're going to touch on, all right. Now, before we start, we have to understand the history, okay, of what happened between the book of Malachi, all right, and Matthew, all right. We have to understand the history, all right. What was going on was a period of Hellenization. Okay, it was a period of Hellenization going on, which is, you know, during the time of the Greeks, you see. So what was taking place is that King Antiochus, all right, sent out a decree, a law to where all the peoples, all right, all the peoples that were conquered by the Greeks had to give into Greek customs, their language, their fashions, their way of life, you know, and that's what was happening. So when you read in the book of Romans, when the Apostle Paul says to the Jew first and also to the Greek, we're going to expound on that understanding. See, who is that Greek he's referring to as in Hellen. Okay, it's a Hellen, which goes back into the Hellenization, okay, period that was taking place. All right, this is First Maccabees 1. And all right, First Maccabees chapter 1 and 41. It says, moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people. All right. Now, after the death of Alexander the Creep, OK, he divided his kingdom up. All right. Between his four generals, you know, and they ruled, you know, Greece, you know, Asia, North Africa, you know, the Levant region. Right. They were the ruling power at that time, man, of the third part. All right. It says, all right, and I believe Antiochus came from the Seleucid, all right, dynasty. All right. It says, moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people, and everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. So everybody round about agreed to it. It says, yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath. See, so these are Israelites consenting unto a foreign religion, idol worship, idolatry. This would make a circumcised Israelite growing up with the customs and the law. This would make that person an uncircumcised Israelite, man. See, it says, for the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah that they should follow the strange laws of the land and forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days and pollute the sanctuary and holy people, set up altars and groves and chapels of idols and sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts, that they should also leave their children uncircumcised. Okay, because within our law, okay, you're supposed to be circumcised, all right, on the 8th day, right? It says, and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation, to the end that they might forget the law and change all the ordinances. So that's what King Antiochus did, all right, in order to cause the Israelites to forget the law. Okay, and what is uncircumcision, right, in the mind is not knowing the law and the customs, man. All right, ultimately being given into idolatry. See, and this is what was happening from the the period from Malachi to Matthew. Okay, you jump from the rulership of the Medes and Persians, all right, to the rulership of the Romans in Matthew. Well, guess what? There was a whole empire ruling in between that time frame, man. And this is where a lot of Israelites lost their identity. They lost who they was. They lost their customs, man. And look it up. This is the thing with you Christians, man, and you people out there. That's why the scriptures say our people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge, because you get so sentimental and in your feelings. Oh, no, the Greek is not an Israelite. The Greek is not this. And the Gentiles that it was. No, man, you don't know the history. OK, we're showing you here. OK, you can look up on Google, King Antiochus Hellenization Jews, and it'll show you. It'll tell you. See, so don't take our word for it, man. What we do in the truth is we study. We dive deep, man. We search these things out, right? Which is something you people don't do. OK, it's clearly showing you that this is what was happening, man. Israelites were becoming uncircumcised in the mind, man. You see, let's grab another quick precept. All right. This is let's grab another quick one real quick. OK. This is 2 Maccabees 6:6. It says, neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient fasts, or to profess himself at all to be a Jew. See, so when King Antiochus made that decree, man, this is what was happening. Now, we know about the Maccabees, right? Them ultimately waging guerrilla warfare or whatnot. And it was also killing some of you Israelites, man, that openly accepted the ways of those Greeks. But we know that ultimately, we know about the Hasmonean dynasty, which were the Maccabees, who ultimately revolted, against these devils, man. And ultimately ended up rededicating the temple at one point. But that's, I don't want to digress. But, it wasn't lawful to call yourself a Jew. So you would call yourself a Greek. Just like you ask any nigga walking around today, right? What's their nationality? They're going to say African American. They're going to say, which is really two, but they're going to say African American, man, because they grew up in America. So that's what they're going to say. A so-called Mexican is going to say he's a Mexican, So these Jews here that were no longer able to call themselves Jews would consider themselves what? A Greek. See, so now we're going to branch over, all right, into the lesson. OK, now let's start here. This is and I want to kind of build up a bit before I jump into Romans 11, where it goes into the Grafting-In. All right, because you have to understand the history, man, like I went into. But this is Romans 1 and 16. Okay, this is the Apostle Paul. It says, matter of fact, verse 15, it says, so as much as in me is, I am ready to preach the gospel to you that are at Rome also. For I am not ashamed of the gospel of Hamashiach, for it is the power of the Most High unto salvation to everyone that believeth, to the Jew first, and also to the Greek. Now let's go ahead and show you, matter of fact, right? Let's go ahead and show you that the word Greek is a Hellen, which goes into the Hellenization that was taking place during the time of the Greeks that we just read about. Romans 1 and 16, for I am not ashamed of the gospel of Hamashiach, for it is the power of the Most High unto salvation to everyone that believeth, to the Jew first, which is a circumcision. You know, these are the Jews that returned from the Babylonian exile, who rebuilt the temple, right? Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, who returned from the Babylonian exile. They had the laws, they had the customs, you know, the priesthood, right? They knew it. And then you had Israelite foreigners who were scattered, who grew up, for example, the Greece, you know, Italy, the islands, etc., who ultimately ended up become uncircumcised in the mind, following after the ways of the heathen. See, it says to the Jew first and also to the Greek, okay, which the Greek word, okay, is translated from the word Helen, okay. All right, it says, in a wider sense, the name embraces all nations, not Jews, that made the language, customs, and learning of the Greeks their own. The primary reference is to a difference of religion and worship, okay? And, you know, you see here it says, in a wider sense, the name embraces all nations, not Jews, that made the language, customs, and learning of the Greeks their own. But we just showed you in First Maccabees that all heathen, as well as many Israelites, did this. See, so Hellen or Hellenization was a period that was taking place during the time of the Greeks, you know, where everybody was forced really to accept the Greekish way of life. See, so that's the Hellen that is speaking of here, man. The Apostle Paul is speaking to those Israelites, right? It says to the Jew first and also to the Greek. Now, why is it to the Jew first? Because that was prophecy. All right, this message had to go into to the Jews first. Okay, they had to have the chance to hope on Yahweh Shah first. Okay, but due to many of them rejecting, which will show you that, due to many of them rejecting him, that's when it was opened up unto the Israelite foreigners, the uncircumcision. That's where you get the the vision Cornelius. All right, who was a centurion of the Italian band. Okay, he ultimately had a vision, you know, to go and meet Peter, right? And then you had Peter had the vision of the clean and unclean in the book of Acts, chapter 10. All right, which it wasn't going into food. When you read down, it was going into the circumcision and uncircumcision, man, right? You know, the Apostle Paul being converted on his way to Damascus. And those things had to happen, all right, ultimately, so that this ministry could go from being, directed towards the Jews, the circumcision, all right, to also being branched down to the uncircumcision, okay, Israelite foreigners. It was all by design. But this is Zechariah 12 and 7. It says, the Lord Yahweh also shall save the tents of Judah first, that the glory of the house of David and the glory of the inhabitants of Jerusalem do not magnify themselves against Judah. See, because the Most High does everything with order. All right. So Yahweh Shah was sent. That's why Yahweh Shah said, Matthew 10. All right. These 12 Yahweh Shah sent out. OK, saying, go not into the way of the Samaritans, man, but go to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. See, they had a specific mission, man, you know, and they were going to the Jews, the circumcision, you know, all right, until, you know, like I said, the Apostle Paul came on the scene, you know, Peter had the vision, you know, etc. That's when it branched out, Okay, because at that point, many of the Jews, the wicked Pharisees, the Sadducees, the peoples, a lot of them rejected the faith in Yahweh Shah, man. They rather have chosen to hang on to the traditions of men, and their vain hope in the law, really, you know. But yeah, it said the Lord also shall save the tents of Judah first, that the glory of the house of David and the glory of the inhabitants of Jerusalem do not magnify themselves against Judah, because Yahweh Shah came from Judah. Judah's the top tribe, So the Most High does everything with order. So first it went to the Jews, the circumcision, and once a lot of them rejected, hey, that's when it got branched out to the rest of the Israelite foreigners, man. Which really translates to us to this day. When we woke up to the truth, well, you weren't a part of the circumcision. I wasn't a part of the circumcision. I grew up in America, what I'm saying, eating pork, which, we really try not to eat pork even, when I wasn't in the truth. But, eating pork and getting tattoos and, unknowingly committing adultery, right? Just doing all types of shit, man. We all have a story, but ultimately we heard this truth, all right? Being those Israelite foreigners, outcasts that grew up in the land of captivity, doing the things heathen was doing, celebrating Christmas, Thanksgiving, getting a bitch a Valentine's card, right? We did all that shit before, but then you come into the truth, man, and your uncircumcision becomes circumcision, right? By trying to keep the law to the best of your ability, in this captivity. See, that's what's taking place here. Okay, this is right. This is Con, let me grab this. And this is in the book of Romans 11. Okay, we'll jump into the to the meat of the lesson. All right, this is Romans 11, and we'll start at verse 11. Okay, but as you see, the caption or the title of the chapter is Israel has not been rejected. Right. All right, 11 and 11. It says, I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall? But the Most High forbid, but rather through their fall, salvation is come unto the Gentiles for to provoke them to jealousy. Okay, now who stumbled, right? All right, the unbelieving Jews. See, and we're going to show you accounts. The Jews not believing, right? All right, they were ultimately jealous, because now uncircumcised Israelites, right, Israelite foreigners were hearing this message. Well, it was preached unto you, but you didn't want it, man. See, it says it's come unto the Gentiles for to provoke them to jealousy. Let's grab an account. Let's grab this here in let's just grab this in Acts 2. All right. As a matter of fact, let's grab this here in Acts 13. All right, yeah, Con. Acts 13 and 45, it says, matter of fact, verse 44, okay, and it says, Paul turns to the Gentiles. It says, in the next Sabbath day came almost the whole city together to hear the word of the Most High. But when the Jews saw the multitudes, they were filled with envy and spake against those things which were spoken by Paul, contradicting and blaspheming. So they were jealous. Then Paul and Barnabas waxed bold and said, it was necessary that the word of the Most High should first have been spoken to you, you Jews, the circumcision. But seeing ye put it from you and judge yourselves unworthy of everlasting life, lo, we turn to the Gentiles. See, it says, for so hath the Lord commanded us, saying, I have set thee to be a light of the Gentiles, that they should be for salvation unto the ends of the earth. And we're in the ends of the earth, man. The fourth part, the Americas, everywhere we're scattered. Once again, we've now heard this message, right? But yeah, right. That's why Paul said, but it was necessary the word of the Most High should have first been spoken to you. Okay, and that's why he says to the Jew first, and also to the Greek, meaning the Jews, the circumcision, all right, were to hear this message first. See, those who grew up with the law, all right, but didn't have that faith in Yahweh Shah. And then also to the Greek, the Hellenized Israelite foreigners, man, who grew up with heathen customs. See, now they were able to get it. And that made those Jews jealous. Okay, as it shows you here, man. But yeah, that was the point on that. All right. Okay. See. So verse 12 it says, now if the fall of them be the riches of the world, and the diminishing of them the riches of the Gentiles, how much more their fullness? See, so the fall of the unbelieving Jews is the riches of the world. Okay, wow, the cosmos. Okay, the constitution, the government, all right, of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, which are his people, man, the Israelites. Okay, due to those unbelieving branches falling off, now believing Israelite foreigners could be grafted in. Okay, and the riches of the world is cosmos. Okay, which I'm not going to dive into that too much, but cosmos is an apt and harmonious arrangement or constitution, an order or government. Okay, and this is the same cosmos, the same world used in John 3:16. So who is the Most High's government? Who was given the priestly duties, the services, the promises, right? Who's given the constitution, the law, are the Israelites, man. Matter of fact, Paul tells you that himself in Romans, the 9th chapter. See, and another quick point is that the Greeks, they have multiple words for the word world. You know, I believe it's three, but another one is oikomene. Oikomene goes into the whole inhabitable earth. See, why was that not used here, man? Because they understood this is, when it was translated, this was going into the constitution or the Most High's government, man. The Israelites, okay? And that's the same world used in John 3:16. Right, now, if the fall of them be the riches of the world, and the diminishing of them the riches of the Gentiles, how much more their fullness? For I speak to you Gentiles, inasmuch as I am the apostle of the Gentiles, I magnify mine office. Yeah. If by any means I may provoke to emulation them which are my flesh, and might save some of them. Okay, and that's what happened. We just showed you they were provoked. The Jews were provoked. They became jealous. You know? Okay, Paul was a Pharisee of Pharisees, meaning he knew the law, man. I mean, hell, before he was converted, he was persecuting the church. See? So he was of the circumcision. So he wanted to provoke some of them, you know? And it happened, all right? It says, verse 15, for if the casting away of them be the reconciling of the world, what shall the receiving of them be but life from the dead? See, this is what gives you life. This is what quickens you, man. You know? But it says, for if the casting away of them be the reconciling of the world, what shall the receiving of them be but life from the dead? The casting away of who? The unbelieving Jews, right? Now let's click on that word reconciling. Atonement, restoration. See, you know, matter of fact, let's just do this. Let's just look up reconcile, meaning you were once a part of it, right? That's ultimately reconciliation is to restore something. See, matter of fact, it says it there, restore friendly relations between. So if you restore something, meaning you were once a part of it or you once had it. See, right? It says, for if the casting away of them be the reconciling or the restoring of the world, the cosmos, the Israelites, what shall the receiving of them be but life from the dead? Yeah, because now you've abandoned that uncircumcision and you've came back to your truth. See, all right, right, Khan. It says, for if the first fruit be holy, the lump is also holy, and if the root be holy, so are the branches. Okay, who's the root? The vine is Yahweh Shah, man. Okay, I believe he says that in St. John, I want to say the 15th chapter. Give me one moment. I want to see if I can find that. Yeah, St. John 15:1. I am the true vine, and my father, Salaki, my father is the husbandman. Right? Every branch in me that beareth not fruit, he taketh away, and every branch that beareth fruit, he purgeth it, that it may bring forth more fruit. But the point is that Yahweh Shah is the vine, planted by the Heavenly Father, man. So these branches, or rather, so this root here, this vine is Yahweh Shah. We are the branches. See? It says, and if the root be holy, so are the branches. And if some of the branches be broken off, unbelieving Jews, and thou being a wild olive tree, right, Israelite foreigners of the uncircumcision, wert graft in among them, and with them partakest of the root and fatness of the olive tree, which is what? The hope in Yahweh Shai, that faith in Yahweh Shai, boast not against the branches, boast not against the Jews, the circumcision, man. But if thou boast, thou bearest not the root, but the root thee. Thou wilt say then the branches were broken off that I might be grafted in. Well, because of unbelief, they were broken off, and thou standest by faith. See, be not high-minded, but fear. An example of that faith is Cornelius. All right, once again, a centurion. You know, he was an Israelite, man, who had faith. He believed. All right, the eunuch. All right, the eunuch. All right, was an Israelite. You know, who believed. I believe it was the Ethiopian eunuch. Right. He believed. See, so that's an example of the faith that the uncircumcision, you know, or Israelite foreigners had that allowed them to be grafted into this deal, man. Those are just two accounts. It says, for if the Most High spared not the natural branches, take heed lest he also spare not thee. Behold, therefore the goodness and severity of God, all right, on them which fail severity, but toward thee goodness, if thou continue in his goodness, otherwise thou also shalt be cut off. Yeah. And they also, if they abide not still in unbelief, shall be grafted in. For the Most High is able to graft them in again. See, if they, you know, were able to understand this message, man, then the circumcision, the Jews of the circumcision would have been able to be accepted, you know. It says, for if thou were cut off, Slakia, for if thou were cut out of the olive tree, which is wild by nature, and were grafted contrary to nature into a good olive tree, how much more shall these, which be the natural branches, be grafted into their own olive tree, right? Yeah, you grew up as a heathen, man. You grew up, as we just showed you in Maccabees, a lot of Israelites grew up keeping Greekish customs, man. So if you're able to be ultimately cleansed and converted, you know, and accepted back, how much more so Jews that grew up with the law, you know, albeit they weren't perfect, but they grew up with the law and the customs, you know, of our forefathers, man. How much more so would they, you know, be grafted back into the tree, right? It says, for I would not, brethren, that ye should be ignorant of this mystery, lest ye should be wise in your own conceits. Blindness in part is happened to Israel until the fullness of the Gentiles come in. Okay, scriptures say not all Israel is Israel. This is why you had some Jews that didn't believe, and it's the reason why you had some Israelite foreigners that did believe, man. It's about the elect. See, it's about the elect, and that's what's taking place now to this day, man. It's beautiful, man. We're at the end, man. You know, the gospel's being preached in the four corners of the earth, and salvation is about to come because, you know, prophecy's being fulfilled, man. You know, it went to the Jews first, the circumcision, you know, over 2,000 years ago. Now we're in that time where you got brothers everywhere. You got brothers teaching this message everywhere, man. And believers all across the world waking up, you know. All right. It says, and so all Israel shall be saved. As it is written, there shall come out of Zion a deliverer and shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob, man. See, that's the point. That's what we're doing this for, you know, and you know, we know that you can't graft a pear into an apple tree, right? You can't graft a pear into an apple tree. So this olive tree, okay, represents the nation of Israel. And what further proves that is Jeremiah, the 11th chapter. See, this is the nation of Israel is who Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shah compared to an olive tree, a green olive tree. Let's show you that real quick. And that's pretty much the point, man. We'll go ahead and close out in a minute. See, what other nation was likened unto this olive tree to him, man? See, Jeremiah 11. And let's go up a little bit so you can get the point. All right. 13, it says, for according to the number of thy cities were thy gods, O Judah, and according to the number of the streets of Jerusalem, have ye set up altars to that shameful thing, even altars to burn incense unto Baal, idolatry. Therefore pray not for this people, neither lift up a cry for them, or prayer for them, for I will not hear them in the time that they cry unto me for their trouble, which is really going to happen to a lot of you Israelites in this day and age, man, because you're not going to put off the ways of the heathen. A lot of you niggas, a lot of you bitches are going to stay uncircumcised in the mind, and the Most High is not going to hear your prayers or your cries, man. Okay, but it says, What hath my beloved to do in mine house, seeing she had wrought lewdness with many? Okay, that spiritual whoredom. And the holy flesh is passed from thee. When thou doest evil, then thou rejoicest. Here's the point. The Lord called thy name a green olive tree, fair and of goodly fruit. With the noise of a great tumult, he hath kindled fire upon it, and the branches of it are broken. See that? We were called a green olive tree, man. Israel. It says, for the Lord of hosts that planted thee hath pronounced evil against thee, for the evil of the house of Israel, northern, and the house of Judah, southern, which they have done against themselves to provoke me to anger in offering incense unto Baal. Point being is that that green olive tree, okay, where the branches was broken off due to idolatry, okay, due to, in the New Testament here, right, due to unbelief of the Jews, you know, that's Israel. That's the nation of Israel, man. See, when the Apostle Paul was referencing this olive tree, right, that's where it came from, okay, which relates to who? The nation of Israel, man, showing you, you heathen aren't a part of this, man, okay? And once again, that's why I opened up with Jeremiah 16 and 19. You're going to realize you've inherited lies, man, okay? And you go into the history of it. I believe I did a lesson on it, you know, but, Christianity, Catholicism, that all came about during the Emperor Constantine, man. You know, I believe in I want to say the 5th century AD. You know, that's where he had particular councils, ecumenical councils, which that word ecumenical, matter of fact, let's just look this up real quick and I'm going to go ahead and close out. That word ecumenical goes into the Greek word oikoumene, which is whole world. That's where in this truth, which was specifically for the nation of Israel, that's when they made it. That's when they ultimately merged paganism with it to allow for it to be for anybody, any heathen, you know, because at that time, it was a lot of persecution happening to the church, the followers of Yahweh Shah. So ultimately to try to, calm down the tensions or whatnot, man, they allow all the people at that time to accept Christianity, which Christianity is a man-made religion, man, with all these wicked holidays and paganism and idolatry, that's where it became a worldwide thing. See, that's the laws you've inherited. Okay. Ecumenical council is a gathering of regional churches that is called to ensure that they are following a single set of Christian doctrines. Matter of fact, let's just look at this real quick. So I'm not going to dive into this too much. The Council of Nicaea was the first council in the history of the Christian church that was intended to address the entire body of believers. It was convened by the Emperor Constantine to resolve the controversy of Arianism, a doctrine that held that Christ was not divine but was created being. But ultimately, this is around the time period to where Christianity became the religion, all right, at that time, and became the religion because they had merged paganism with the scriptures, etc., man. And that's where you people have inherited the laws, believing you could receive of this salvation, all right, which is only for the nation of Israel. All right, so Lord willing, that was edifying, the grafting in, all right, of the Israelite foreigners, all right, which really is what happened to us, man. That's why Paul says in 1 Corinthians 12:2, ye know that ye were Gentiles. You wore Gentiles carried away into these dumb idols, man. So the Apostle Paul knew exactly who he was going to. And let me end it off with this, and then that's going to be the point. Acts 26:6. Now, this is when Paul was on trial before King Agrippa. He said, all right, it says, all right, it's the Apostle Paul. He said, and now I stand and am judged for the hope of the promise made of the Most High unto our fathers. See, unto which promise are 12 tribes instantly serving the Most High day and night, hope to come. See that? For which hope's sake, King Agrippa, I am accused of the Jews, which further shows you a lot of the Jews rejected Yahweh Shah. They were accusing Paul. They threw Paul in prison, etc., because of his hope in Yahweh Shah, man. Because he believed. See, so I'll grab this just to show you that the Apostle Paul, who a lot of you people ignorantly quote, misinterpret, he knew that the promise was for the 12 tribes. It says, and now I stand and am judged for the hope of the promise made of the Most High unto our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, unto which promise our 12 tribes instantly serving the Most High day and night hope to come. So we hope to come to that promise, man. For which hope's sake, King Agrippa, I am accused of the Jews. See, and that's pretty much it on that, man. So yeah, you heathen have inherited lies. Take that up with Esau, Edom. Take that up with the Pope. The Roman Catholic Church. And ultimately that's pretty much the point. I'm gonna give all praises to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah, DTA Wababa Ball, Shalom.